Hello guys, my name is Anurag Edlabadkar and today we are going to talk about semi-supervised learning. So semi-supervised learning is again comes in between supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So semi-supervised learning is a type of machine learning that lies between supervised learning and unsupervised learning. It combines the best of both worlds. It uses small amount of labeled data and large amount of unlabeled data to train the model. So right here to understand in a better way, small amount of labeled data means supervised learning, and a large amount of unsupervised data, that is unlabeled data, is used in semi-supervised learning. Now, as we already discussed this particular thing that my supervised data or my label data is very costly. To label data, it is time consuming as well as very costly affair with respect to that. So it is necessary that we should better to go for unlabeled data. Now there are some pros and cons associated with with the supervised and unsupervised data but learning. But right here we need to manage the data in a better way. So in similar terms, semi-supervised learning means teaching the computer using new examples that have the correct answer, labeled data, and many examples that don't have, that is unlabeled data. The idea is even though labeled data is expensive and time consuming, and the model can still learn effectively using the pattern found in the unlabeled data. So this is how exactly my semi-supervised learning in machine learning is. Now, basic idea of semi-supervised learning is that in semi-supervised learning we train the labeled data, both input and output are known. In unsupervised learning, we train only input data, that is no label data, but in the real world situation, we often have a mix, a few label data, sample right there, and a lot of unlabeled data one. For example, image building model for to classify the thousands of images as cat and dog. So labeling every image is time consuming and it is very costly affair. So what we do is we take few images, like for example 100 images, and with labeling, or I will say labeled 100 images are there, and the remaining 9,900 images, they are unlabeled one, and we process that particular data with the help of semi-supervised learning. So that is my, so it is cost effective as well as it gives you perfect result in that. Then you have how semi-supervised learning works. So first thing is collecting data, learning from labeled data, use of unlabeled data, and refine and predict. So very first thing is gathering the data that contains both label and unlabeled examples. Then learn from the labeled data. The model start learning patterns and relationships from the small label portion, and the model then analyze the unlabeled data to find the hidden structure and cluster that resemble the label example. And the last one, that is refining and predict. So using both type of data, model improves its prediction, gains a deeper understanding of the data set. Then why use semi-supervised learning? So labeling data is an expensive thing. We already talked about it, especially for the tasks like image recognition, speech analysis, and medical diagnosis, where the expert knowledge is required. However, collecting the raw, unlabeled data is usually easy and cheap. So semi-supervised learning bridges this gap, and it makes learning more effective and practical when the label data is limited. So that is why we go for semi-supervised learning. Then the common techniques in semi-supervised learning is self-training, co-training, then graph-based methods and generative model. So these are the common techniques which we are going to use, which we use in semi-supervised learning. So self-training means the model is first trained on the label data. It then predicts the label for the unlabeled data and then retrains itself through the prediction labels on that. So based on these common techniques, we utilize the semi-supervised learning. Then advantages of semi-supervised learning: it is cost effective because it requires very few labeled data in that, and more time we spend on unlabeled data. Improve accuracy, performs better when unsupervised method, when more labeled data is available, and useful for real world data. Most real world data sets are partially unlabeled and labeled, so make this approach practical. So in this way we get the advantages. Now limitations. So limitations is risk of wrong labels, complex implementation, and performance dependence. So risk of wrong labels means if the model correctly is incorrectly labeled, it can be spread errors during the training. Okay, so that is one thing. Algorithms are more difficult to design and tune than purely supervised or unsupervised one. And performance dependence. So the success heavily depend upon the quality of labeled samples. So in this way it is used. Now real life applications of semi-supervised learning is speech recognition, medical diagnosis, web content classification, and image recognition. So there are lot many other real life applications right there, but these are some examples with respect to that. Now conclusion with respect to semi-supervised learning is a smart approach that combines a little supervised with a lot of exploration. It's especially valuable in the situation where the label data is costly or the time consuming. By learning from the both labeled and unlabeled data, semi-supervised learning improves accuracy, reduces efforts, and provides practical solutions for the real-world machine learning problems. In short, it helps learning more with less human help. So this is all about semi-supervised learning. We will take another topic that is reinforcement learning in upcoming videos. Thank you very much.